Yo, D to the style. What up?
Check it out, Ness. What would you say right now? Like, if you keep it honest, right?
Yep.
If it was announced that the next Tank Davis pay-per-view is going to be priced at $95, what would you say?
100, depending on the opponent. So Tank would have to do the same.
Well, it was only Pacquiao and McGregor fights that did over 4 million, right? So,
Exactly.
so we're talking that's a stratosphere Tank's not going to reach. Like, if we keep it honest, at least not in any recent time.
He's just starting, and he's comparable to 2 stars.
No. But here's where you're kind of wrong.
Okay.
If you look at the price point, right? If you take into account inflation, right? The Manny Pacquiao fight against Eric Morales in 2005 will be priced at $95. You know what I mean?
No. That's a total assumption. First of all, Pacquiao couldn't ever raise.
That's not an assumption.
Dude, Pacquiao never raised the price. Mayweather raised the price. Pacquiao never.
No. Here's where you're wrong, and that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is $65. Okay, $69 back in 2005. If you count inflation, is comparable to $95 today.
Negative.
That's what I'm saying.
Negative. The only inflation I would allow would be, okay, if you say, which I don't know is true, we would have to Google to see if that pay-per-view was really $69. I would allow equal. I would say, okay, so say that Pacquiao made $80 per pay-per-view, which is what our fighters are making right now with pay-per-view. You know, Tank has sold his pay-per-view for $80, $79.95 HD, things like that. But 95, that number is so strange, and that number was only attained with a Mayweather.
The reason let me explain how I came up with that number, right? It wasn't just from thin air. I'm just getting the pay-per-view price of the Tank fight. That's all I'm doing. And I'm accounting for inflation, right, from 2005 to 2021 using an inflation calculator. That's not from thin air.
New York City, what up? We went to you on Blog Talk. You must have been at a stop. Unmute.
Yo, you hear me?
We do.
Let's get to it, y'all. Inflation, Filmation. You heard? Filmation was He-Man. Filmation did He-Man. Filmation did Fat Albert, man. Listen, man, I don't know who this dude is, but you a hater. You a super hater. How you gonna say like Ryan is moving the needle? Ryan Garcia ain't doing nothing. That man Tank had a sold out joint. The whole shit was sold out. Ness was there. Ness showed us, yo. What you talking about, man? Come on, man. Stop the hate, man. Cause a little dude at 5'5" that's moving, that doing the Canelo move, and Canelo's running with him. That's Canelo, man. He enjoys seeing him. How you gonna say he not pay-per-view? You talking about inflation, claymation, filmation. That shit ain't gonna work, man, on the boxing voice and the voice. It's not gonna work, bro. Stop hating. When your man Ryan Garcia do something, come back. Holla at me. Holla at King Born. And we could do the pay-per-view numbers. You talk about inflation, the dollar value. Rosie Perez was there. Yo, Dr. J was there. Keith Simmons. He not a star. He not a star, right? So who doing that? Ryan Garcia ain't doing that, my man. Come on, brother. You a hater. If you a hater, that's cool. We love you, but just admit you a hater. You feel me, Ness? You hating. You lost. Love you. Come back again. Peace.
Hey, go tell the price of milk. When the price of milk goes up, do you say, oh, inflation? When the dollar amount is worth less in your bank account, do you say inflation, all that? No, you don't, right? Like, do you say that like, oh man, this gallon of milk used to only be 99 cents when I was only 12 years old. Well, now I'm only gonna pay 99 cents for it. No, right? You still gotta pay the $3 to the $4 for it, right? So let's not act like inflation don't matter. Now, if you don't understand inflation, I could educate you about it. But if you don't understand it, that's okay. From 2005, which is the year, I'm talking about the year Pacquiao fight Morales, right? If we're talking money, you have to count inflation.
Cool. But Champ,
right?
All you're saying is that Tank is $15 less than Manny Pacquiao. Think about what you're saying. You're making my point. You're making my point because now guess what? Let's take Tank out of the equation and you tell me who else.
What?
You tell me who else could we put in this same census with Mayweather, Pacquiao? Who's next? Is Shakur?
Well, here's the
Tio?
thing, though.
Is Tio? Is Ryan? No one is doing what Tank is doing. No one. Earl is the only one, and guess what? He's in the premier division.
What you're failing to recognize is that pay-per-views in the early 2000s, we're talking about homes that were packed, right, with like 30 people watching a pay-per-view. That was the age of the fight parties. Fight parties don't really exist anymore, and I know this because you could ask the whole entire chat. They all know. That's why people congregate on the internet to talk boxing because they don't know a lot of people in their personal life that watches boxing with them, right? So yes, you're right about the pay-per-view numbers, and I'm not trying to diminish what Tank does in terms of pay-per-view numbers. He's doing good. I'm not saying they're terrible. I'm not saying he's a flop or anything. But what he is not is this big marquee star that is being made out to be.
When you starting, right, remaining on pay-per-view is a direct indication of your promoter saying you are lucrative. You're making us money. Listen, D-Style, you want to say he's not a star, but meanwhile, his promoter's not taking him off pay-per-view. That means they're turning a profit, dog. Let's just be real. If they weren't making a profit, they do what? Pull them back. They're making money. They're making money, so they're like, fuck it, let's keep. Yo, we just put them in there. They're in the boardroom like this. Yo, we just put them in with a 4-time champion. Fuck it, let's test the water. Who's Barrios? Fuck it, he got a belt. Let's test the water. Oh my God, he did 200 to 215 with Barrios. Analytics? You think that they don't know how many people tuned into Ryan on his DAZN fights? If he was a pay-per-view star, they would have done it, man.
How old is Errol Spence, Ness?
I don't know, 30? 27,
He's in his 30s,
28?
brother.
What is it?
How old is Ryan? Ryan's in his early 20s, brother. Teofimo's in his early 20s.
Brother, Ryan
You're
is
assuming
older.
they're never going to be on pay-per-view. They will be on pay-per-view.
Ryan is ain't Ryan the same age as Tank right now, man? What are we talking about? What is he waiting for? He's not even a champ.
No, I get that, but here's the thing. I feel like they're force-feeding Tank to be this pay-per-view star that he isn't.
No,
right? He's a comparable star, like pay-per-view guy. Like he
how
does
you force-feed it with stars showing up?
Isn't that a fair term? He does respectable pay-per-view numbers, but
Absolutely.
he's not a star, bro.
Absolutely.
But you spend here all this time going over these fucking numbers that don't mean a goddamn thing. Why don't we judge his performance and what he's doing now? You going back talking about what a dollar would have meant 50 years ago. Fuck that, man. Fuck the inflation. Whoever's numbers did what they did, Pacquiao's numbers what they were, Tank's numbers are what they are now.
That's it.
Why do we got to go and look for numbers to say the man ain't a star? If you think MMA fans are laughing at us, this is why. Why are we not judging him off the excitement of the fight or whatever we saw? Now we turn this into economics. We going over inflation?
I could go. Well, here's the thing, right? It's not inflation's a thing. Like I know you might not think it's a thing, but it is. Okay, because the value of the dollar is worth more today. Worth less today than it was then. So you do have to put that in perspective. That's not me trying to find anything. That's just reality. Pay-per-view. 200,000 is respectable. All right, and I think the word respectable, right, is good enough. Look, at the end of the day, I just don't think he's a star right now.
So name another fighter in and around his weight that can do what he's doing.
Just because there isn't another fighter that's doing it in and out of his weight doesn't mean he's a star. Both those things are not mutually exclusiveness.
Champ.
It could just mean that boxing isn't in a place at the moment, that has a lot of stars. Historically, there's only been 2 or 3 dudes, or maybe just the one that's a star.
You don't think this is part of the reason because we spend time dissecting and detracting instead of elevating and congratulating? You don't think this is part of the reason why we can't elevate people to stardom in a healthy way? You don't think that's true?
So what you're saying is I have to dispel disbelief and just say 200,000 makes you a star when it doesn't.
No.
So wait.
So are you saying that everyone was saying
10 seconds.
Everybody except you. Triple G was never a star.
Listen, we're generalizing, but you know that was what the masses were
saying. Do you want me to tell you what I thought about Triple G, or do you guys want to tell me what I thought about Triple G?
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Okay, so Triple G, I mean, he did sell out Staples Center. He sold out Madison Square Garden. Okay,
and that's another reason they were calling him a star, because he was able to sell in two regions.
I think you can say that is what it is, right? I mean, I think that's a good thing, right? But did I call him a pay-per-view star? No, I never called him a pay-per-view star, right? Like this idea that he was a pay-per-view star. No, he wasn't. Neither is Tank. Just like, is that the bar? Is that the new bar?
Yes.
Is
Gennady Golovkin the bar? Okay. You sell more than Triple G?
I'll give you one more.
You're a pay-per-view star?
I'll give you one more. He doesn't want to respect Gennady as a star.
I'm like a zombie, bro. Like, I keep coming back.
Listen, Tank, 2 pay-per-views are better than Ward's 2 pay-per-views. Andre, gold medalist, last Olympian for America. Look, he can't even bite his smile. He trying to hold back his smile. Doggy,
DStyle never said that Andre Ward was a star, Ness. Chill out.
No, I'll tell you.
How you gonna call Andre Ward not a star? How you gonna call Andre Ward not a star? First dude to go through the Super 6 at 16-0. His resume speaks for itself. He moved up 2 divisions to fight the boogeyman. How is he not a star with a gold medal? How is he not a star with one of the biggest deals ever in boxing history? How is he not a star?
Check it out, Ness. Check it out.
He used to manage Shakur Stevens.
Is Andre Ward the bar? If you do more than Andre Ward, you're a star. Is that the bar or what?
Hell yeah.
Is that your argument?
Hell yeah. If you can outdo a gold medalist, the last one ever for the males.
So what is a gold medalist? Robesi Ramirez is a gold medalist.
You're a hater. You're a hater, man. You're a hater. You showing it, bro. You showing it.
So let me answer your question.
You're talking about a kid that outsold the gold medalist. He didn't go to the Olympics. He got it out the mud.
Gamboa was a gold medalist. Well, what does that even mean?
And he knocked out Gamboa too, by the way. Thank you.
And then he retired, okay? So I get that. But, like, he was never a pay-per-view star. You know what I mean? He was a good fighter. Can you argue he should have been? Probably. But he wasn't, right?
Okay, but DStyle, he had all the elements, right? And he didn't do it. But Tank has less of those boxes checked, and he's doing it. Like, why is this an argument?
No, I did say that Tank is, I said he's good for boxing. I said he's doing respectable numbers, okay? But here's the trick, right? You call him a pay-per-view star. When I give examples of a pay-per-view star, you turn around and say, oh, but you're comparing him to all these all-time greats, right?
That's
and then
proof.
When I make other arguments that he's not a pay-per-view star, oh, but look, this guy had this and this guy had that advantage that he didn't, and look at what he's doing. I know you're making the argument of perspective. You want me to put it in perspective of where he is, despite everything that's against him, right? But he's got a machine behind him called like Floyd Mayweather. He's got a machine behind him in Showtime. It's not like he doesn't have anything, right? So obviously, if he was a gold medalist, would he be a bigger star today? Probably. I don't know. There's no way to know that.
Everybody got a machine. D-Style. Oscar Valdez has the machine. He's a 2-time champion, 2-division or 3-division champion, right? He's Mexican, so he's got a country. He's trained by Eddie Reynoso. He's stable weights with Canelo, and he's signed to one of the biggest promoters in the last 80 years. Why is he not a pay-per-view star? Why is he not doing what Tank is doing?
Well, I don't think, like, obviously, if you're asking me, is Tank a bigger name than Valdez, right? The answer is yes. Like, you're asking me questions that everyone knows the answer to, right? So there's no need to ask me that because everyone knows. But here's the trick. You want me conceding that he's a bigger star than Valdez, right? Despite the fact that Valdez was a stablemate with Canelo. Like, if that means anything. E.J. Smith was a stablemate with Floyd. It doesn't mean anything. It does. Okay? It does. But conceding that point doesn't prove your point that he's a star, though. That's the argument.
Indicates what you make. $80 times 200,000 is $16
million. I'm not even arguing that, though. So how am I lying about something I didn't even argue?
You keep saying he's not a star. You keep saying he's not a star.
It's a reluctance to admit, because at the end of the day, if somebody's selling pay-per-views, like I said, the very simple way to look at it is, Who's doing pay-per-views? Floyd's still doing pay-per-views. We can say Canelo does pay-per-views. Earl's doing pay-per-views. And who else? Tank Davis.
That's
all right?
it.
Not Bud Crawford. Not Inoue. Not Lomachenko. Not none of these people anybody might like to think of.
None.
That's who's doing pay-per-view. So the only cats that's doing, the only dudes selling
Jake
units
Paul.
in Pimp Juicing us.
Jake
Only
Paul.
a few dudes doing it, and that's what makes you a star.
Shout out to Jake Paul.
No.
Ain't his fight
Being on
with-
pay-per-view doesn't make you a star by definition. It just means you're on pay-per-view. The
Oh,
question is this.
As is
Bruh,
doing
you're
200,000
wild,
of measuring profitability of a fighter to a promotional company in a channel. Pay-per-view means every goddamn thing.
Exactly.
No. Just because you say that, you say it with confidence, doesn't make it true. So let me finish my point. My point
Just
is,
because I've said it with confidence is exactly why you ain't like it, bro.
No. It's because, like, here's again.
That shit
The
sounds
question
good.
is, like, hold on, I'll let you finish. Let me
ahead,
finish,
brother.
okay? The point is 200,000 buys. Like, just being on pay-per-view by definition doesn't make you a star, right? You have to sell good, like
But it's indicative
200,000
of the money
is
you're
not.
generating
If you're
for
saying,
the promoter
if
and
you're
for a
gonna
potential
say,
network.
if you're
why
gonna
it means
say,
nothing. If
if
only
you're
selling,
gonna
if
say-
you're only selling 100,000,
If you're gonna
pay-per-views,
say-
then they might not find you as
You already
marketable.
made your
Ask
point.
Terrence Crawford. Ask Terrence Crawford. That's why he's on
You
regular
made your
ESPN
point.
pay-per-view. It's not marketable.
this is
That's
what you
why
call
it's said
filibustering because you don't want to hear
everything.
my point. If you're saying 200,000 buys is the bar and that makes you a star, then just wait till they put some other dudes on pay-per-view. It's only a matter of time before somebody else.
We've been waiting.
And we're
We've
waiting.
been waiting and watching.
We're waiting.
Okay, but here's the thing.
What a sexy
Like,
headline
if
that
DAZN
would
is
be.
paying somebody to not be on pay-per-view and be on their platform because they are the anti-pay-per-view platform for the most part.
One platform
Anti-pay-per-view.
and they don't have all the fighters. Tell me about somebody
Anti-pay-per-view,
else.
but their fights are on pay-per-view.
They got Canelo on pay-per-view, brother.
That's pay-per-view.
Because
Did I
he's
not
stars.
explain why
Because he's
on
an
pay-per-view?
attraction. Because he's an attraction. That's why they got him on pay-per-view.
Canelo is not on pay-per-view. Look, brother, he's on pay-per-view for people that don't have internet, okay, so they can order it through satellite or cable.
Because
My friend,
my friend,
So
you're arguing semantics.
Fighter on pay-per-view.
You're arguing
That's what makes
semantics.
him a star.
Hold on a
No,
minute.
but
Hold
we're
on,
talking about a
D-Style,
mega
give me an
star in
opportunity.
Canelo, right?
Let me get an
To Tank and
opportunity
the
here
rest,
because
right?
you gave
Let's
some
leave
false
Canelo out of it for a
information.
second. Because comparing Tank to Canelo is laughable, if we're honest, okay? Let's not even go there. But if we compare Tank to everybody else, okay? You're telling me right now, you're going to look at me with confidence and tell me that Lomachenko versus Teofimo would not have done 200,000 buys? Is that what you're telling me right now? You don't think he would have done that when it did 4 million?
Bro, if
Yours?
they would have done that, they would have sent the link. They would have did it on pay-per-view, and they haven't, man.
Or Bob Arum didn't want to take no fucking risk. He just wanted to guarantee
Exactly,
money, brother.
But what are you saying?
Bob Arum has a
Mayweather-
history of that. He
Yo,
didn't believe in
no,
Floyd Mayweather.
no, my friend,
That you
my
so
friend.
confidently said.
My friend, you just said they didn't want to take the risk. If there's a risk, there's fear. There's no risk with Tank. What don't you get?
Was Showtime scared?
Showtime doesn't have a choice. They don't have a choice but to put up because they have a limited budget, brother. That's why they got to do the pay-per-views.
Okay.
They put the Charles on pay-per-view. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Just putting guys on pay-per-view doesn't make you a star by definition. Just because you do respectable numbers on pay-per-view doesn't make you a star by definition.
I'm glad
it just
you
means
brought-
you did respectable numbers.
No.
Talk to me when he does over 500,000 buys.
Look,
talk to me then, and then we could compare him to the all-time greats.
I'm glad.
Instead of doing trajectory.
I'm glad you brought up Charlo, and this is again an indication that Tank is a star and is profitable. Charlo had Charlos. Charlo had Charlos on their pay-per-view and only did 120. Again, I don't know why you don't just let this shovel go. He's showing you that I'm not Ward. I'm not Floyd. I'm not Earl. I'm not two Charlo brothers. I'm not none of these dudes, and I'm doing it. Why are you denying me, D-Style? That's what he's telling you.
No.
That's what he's telling you.
Again,
I'm
you're doing it again.
comparable.
Like,
I'm
that's not
comparable
the
to
bar.
Pacquiao.
The
I'm
Charlo
comparable
twins are
to
not the
Floyd.
bar. Just because the Charlo twins tanked on pay-per-view, pun intended, doesn't mean that Tank's by definition a star.
But in the conversation, because they kept saying he ain't a rapper, he ain't this, but he was moving the units. All I'm saying is, however Tank is moving the units, he's in the discussion. So I'll even accept respectable. I'll accept respectable. But I think, the trajectory definitely points to stardom. So I think that's the way we can all be satisfied, right? It's respectable numbers, but the trajectory definitely suggests the stardom.
There we go. There we go. D-Styles convinced these guys. There we go.
Let me get to... All right. Where we left off on Super Chatties, looking like we were off at what rep it. Next up, Derek Wallace. Fighters are trending towards subscriptions, just like in the music. No one sells CDs. Artists are using streaming apps like Spotify. Loma versus Tio tops 200,000 easy. Tops. So that means what? $299? Or he's saying top out like only gets 200,000.
Yeah, I don't think that's. Not sure. I would have to look into that.
What do you think it does? What do you think it does if it would have been on pay-per-view? They did 4 million 4 million eyes.
I think it would have done at least 300,000. But again, no way to know that, right?
Now that's beautiful. Your guesstimation is only 100,000 above Tank numbers, which means opponent matters. Tank's
which means it's 100,000 more buys, like you said, Ness.
Yeah,
100,000 more people that want to see it.
Yeah, so that means that not only is Tio and Loma stars, but Tank is obviously a star because he didn't have a Loma or a Tio across the corner from him.
And I just want to correct myself. It was 4.2 million homes. I watched it with like 30 people, right? So how many people watched it, right?
That's
so it might have done more than 300,000.
I don't know. What was the numbers for that Lomachenko fight with that other guy?
Nakatani?
Yeah.
Let's look it up. I'll look it up while you go turn the call or something.
What was those numbers? Irvin Green says, if Tank isn't a star with 200,000 pay-per-view buys, name a fighter that is not a star that is doing those numbers. He's busy, y'all. He looking up other numbers. He busy. He can't answer that too.
Whoa.
He can't answer that too.
We've already been through this, though. How many times I got to slap this narrative out of the way? Like, it's like a fly, bro. Like, god damn. No, look. Just because he's doing 200,000, let's just hypothetically say that no other fighter on 140 or below is capable of selling 200,000, right? Now, we don't know that because a lot of them, they're not putting them on pay-per-view. They're on platforms that are the definition of differences, right? Okay? But here's the thing.
Another fighter that is doing 200,000.
I already answered that question.
He said you deflected. He wants a direct answer.
So what he wants me to hear, this is what he wants me to say. Oh, there's no other fighter that does it. Okay, Tank's a star. Well, no. Well, that's not the answer you're gonna get. Like the answer is the answer. It's not a deflect. This is a deflect. Oh, look, there's a bird. Like, no, that's not what I'm doing. Okay, I'm not changing the subject on that question. A direct answer. Selling 200,000 does not make you a star, in my opinion.